Hey fellow cool kids, it's Metal Gear here back with another video for round 3 of the Manufacturers series at Sardegna Road Track C in reverse. So just want to have a shout out to my boy Hyperdrift. He put it in pole position in that Z4 BMW Group 3 car. Amazing effort from him. I'm all the way down in 16th. Had a pretty bad qualifying, ended up with a triple downshift at the right hander at the top of the hill, which spun me out. But anyway, standing start for today's race, and I'm going to start in second gear, drop down to first immediately, so we don't bog down too much, and we get away pretty nicely. The McLaren's not the best starting car, but anyway, we've got some cars up there on the grass, so we're just going to drive around them. Already pick up 3 positions off the start here. Into turn 1, usually gets a little bit argy-bargy through here, a little bit of contact there from the Supra into the WRX, but we're up into 13th until, unfortunately, Gonzu just gets hit there from the Supra, which, unfortunately, yeah, just spears him into me, which then pushes me off the track, so down to 19th place. Sorry for no sound in this video, by the way, guys. I did record these off my remote play, but unfortunately the sound didn't work, so we're going to skip up ahead now to the 5th lap, and OGR TLR Race Tech, aka Rob, he just goes a little bit wide there at that right-hander, so he gives us the indicator to go through. So, making progress through the field, and we're actually going to now skip up ahead all the way up to lap 29. We're currently running in 2nd place and we're coming into the pits. So we opted for the no tire change strategy. So we're going to make up a ton of positions here, unless you do what I just did and come into the pits and change your tires anyway. So absolutely stupid mistake from me there. Just was too eager, ended up mashing the button. And selecting the tire change rather than not to change tires. So we've come out in 10th place. From doing the math, the time we lost there, we would have actually finished up in 6th place for this first race. So really disappointed with myself with how that one turned out. Onto the second race now, we're going to go again, don't want to take, finish 9th, onto the second race, don't want to take those lowly points for 9th place. Qualified 7th for this race, a little bit better than before. This was actually a much quicker qualifying than in our first race, just, I think pole was like a 51.5, but anyway, we get a decent start there, a little bit of contact there from, I think it's a Supra again on the left. He had a really bad start, and he seemed to have spun up his tires and then just ran into me. So we make it through there, and despite a little bit of rubbing his racing here from the Supra, he gets a better run out of the corner, from the Porsche there, he gets a better run, and yeah, so we do manage to survive that, anyway. So moving on now, end of lap 2, and you're going to see the Porsche and the Toyota there fighting for position. And as we follow them up the hill through these S's, we've got this Lancer behind, the Mitsubishi Lancer behind us, Lancer Evo. So as we come around this right hand here, you're going to see the Porsche, I think that is, he goes wide, and so we're going to pick up the place, and we're up into 7th, which was our starting slot actually, so not the greatest of starts, but at least we have survived the initial phase of the race, and we had pretty good race pace in practice, so despite dealing with a fever from my vaccination and being a few tenths off what I was in practice, I was still feeling fairly confident that my race pace could pay off in the end. So as we start lap 3 here, we approach the first turn. Now, the McLaren takes a little bit of a different line through here. It takes a late apex, and unfortunately that just leaves the door open, and the Mitsubishi behind us sticks its nose in, and we end up getting spun around. So just really disappointing. We'll take a look at that on replay, we'll slow it down. So as we come in for the braking zone, we're going to come off the brakes, get the rotation, start heading towards the apex, and then we just get hit from behind there. You'll see we get a snap of oversteer, which we have to correct. Then the Mitsubishi itself gets some oversteer, which hits us in the front, and then that starts to turn us around, and the Porsche just drives straight into us as we're losing traction on the rear end. And yeah, so that just completely puts an end to the race for us. So we're going to skip on now to the final race of the day, and we've qualified in 7th place again. So 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are underway. Green racing as we get away. We see the Ferrari there at the start, get an absolutely massive start. The Ferrari's the best starting car in Group 3 pretty much. as we come up. The Mazda there cuts in front to try and get the inside line for this corner. Everyone wants to be on the inside. You don't want to be on the outside because you can just get hang out to drive there. But we all managed to get through, and we are up into 5th place. So we've picked up 2 places off the start. So once again, we get a fairly decent start, but this time we don't lose any places on the run down the hill. So we're going to skip up ahead now all the way to lap 14 because nothing really happened for those first 14 laps. We were just all kind of following in the slipstream train. We got a little bit of a hit there from the Jag behind us. The Jag was quicker than us quite clearly, but yeah, we were just able to stay ahead, thankfully. And then 2nd and 3rd place, they're going to go into the pits. The leader already pit on lap 14, so we're up into 2nd place now from 5th. So we're going to skip now to the end of lap 15, and we inherit the lead as that driver now pits. And so we're on lap 16, and at this point I decide to do something a little bit strategic. So I know I'm going to do the no stop strategy, and I figure, the no tire change strategy and run as late as possible. And so I figured that this Malaysian driver in the Jaguar is also going to do that. And seeing as though he has been a little bit quicker and he's been bumping me a little bit, I want to preserve my tires, you know, and so I can use his slipstream here. So we just back off into the first corner and we let him through. It probably costs us about half a second, but as you see, he's actually coming into the pit, so we just gave away half a second for absolutely no reason at all. And so at this point I have kind of decided, well, if no one else is going to be going with this strategy, it's probably best here for me to come into the pit straight away and try and just keep track position over all of those cars. But unfortunately, as we come out of the pits here, you're going to see that half second that we gave up, it's just going to cost us from coming out into the lead. Well, what would have been second, because the guy up in first at the moment, he still hasn't pit, but we're going to all jump him when he does come into the pit. So yeah, that little moment of trying to be strategic ends up costing us. So the Ferrari, he does make the move here. The guys who change tires, they have much better traction, so we're going to have a little bit better top speed down the straights. And as it is, the McLaren 650S, it's just not really the quickest car in Group 3. So we do let the Ferrari through, and yeah, so a couple of laps are going to skip up ahead now. It's taken the group behind to now catch up to me, and we've lost touch with the leading 3 up ahead as our tires begin to suffer more and more, and those who stopped for fresh rubber will have more and more of it. So anyway, we see that as we come into this last corner, the Jaguar actually gets a really good run, and I'm a little bit tardy on defending the inside line, and he actually just managed to get a nose up behind me, and now there's nothing that I can do. The Mazda behind is also going to come through in the slipstream. We just try and brake as late as we can, maybe to, you know, duck in and only lose 1 position, but as it is, the Mazda is able to sneak through as well. There's nothing we can really do to defend that itself. But anyway, we now have this Aston Martin behind us, and this Aston is going to be absolutely rapid in the straight line, and behind him is a Nissan GTR, so absolutely no relief from these power cars, which seem to be dominating. Now, as we come into the beginning of lap 27, you can see the Nissan has just so much speed, and so yeah, we're going to go on the inside again, try to defend, get the car slowed down, and try and get on the apex. We managed to do a good job at that time. On to lap 29, once again I'm going to defend the absolute inside line, not allow them to have any late dives. We have to drop it all the way down to first gear. The Aston there, he just drifts wide and hits the wall, and yet he still manages to go over the grass there on the entry into that quick right-hander, and not just like, if I did that in the McLaren, I tell you what, it would be an absolute, you know, plane crash. But anyway, that mistake that he made, it gave him dirty tires, obviously, so we've been able to just pull out a little bit of a gap here, and actually now the Nissan and the Aston, they're going to fight each other, so we just have this 1 lap of respite, kind of, after having defended for essentially 10 laps straight. And so on to the final lap now, and we'll just watch it in real time, I guess, as we come around up through these S's for the final time. Try not to stick a wheel there onto the grass on the left hand side, try not to run wide there at that right hander. And now for the S's, come through, flick it up into 5th gear, back off, begin braking gently, hit the apex of the corner, down into 2nd, power through onto the exit, and we run down towards the line to finish in P6, P Steve as it were, and we're going to pick up 207 points for our efforts. So a little bit of a disappointing day of racing, but given all the circumstances, you have to be pretty happy with how it turned So thanks for watching, and hit subscribe if you like the channel, and we'll see you next time.